and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. I'm Priscilla. I'm the owner of A Life Full of Simplicity. As you can see, it's a different kind of video today because you can see me. Hello. Usually you can only see my hands because I do unboxings on this channel in regards to tarot and oracle decks, as well as weekly readings. So usually you only see my hands, but today you get to see me since I'm doing a different kind of video. So today I'm going to be starting a series on my channel called Magical Page Turner. So it is a video or a series of videos where I talk about books on this channel. So books in regards to nonfiction, fiction, they could be witchy, non-witchy. It'll be different kind of videos that I do talking about books. So today is the first one, and today I'll be talking about my May wrap-up, so what I read in May and what I plan to read in June. So I have my bullet journal here. This is my reading journal. It's where I keep track of all the days that I read and whatnot. I did film my June TBR setup, so I will link that on top in the corner in the cards if you'd like to watch it. So in regards to May, I read a total of 5 books, which is pretty good for me. I actually just started getting back into reading in March. It was actually a very long time since I read non-school related things. I've been in school for a very long time. I'm finally graduating, and boy, do I want to get away from, get away from like school books, even though I do love the things that I've read. Obviously, I have a degree in psychology and I just finished my degree in social service, so the things I've read have been very interesting, but I want to get back into reading nonfiction. So I decided to start reading again in March. I read 3 books and then I read another 3 books in April, so reading 5 books in May was a big thing for me. So I'm going to start off with talking about my May wrap-up, so everything I read, what I started in terms of how I liked it and whatnot. And I will put a picture on this side of each book that I talk about. So the first book that I read was Salem's Lot by Stephen King. So I've actually had this book for a while. I got it from a friend, and I started actually reading it in 2019 in the summer. But I never finished it. So I wasn't even that far in, actually. I was still in the first part, and that book is separated into 3 parts. So I hadn't even finished the first part. And I found the first part was rather boring. Like, it took a while to get to something interesting. And if you don't know, Salem's Lot is supposed to be a vampire novel, and it's if you've read Stephen King, usually they're good when it comes to writing and whatnot, but this one was it wasn't getting there, and then it took too long, so I gave it 3 out of 5 stars because it started off really boring, and I had to wait until the second and third parts for it to actually get good and for vampires to like show up and for action to happen, which was a little disappointing for me personally, because I am a big fan of Stephen King. Though on the back of the book it says that was the second novel he ever wrote, so that's probably why it wasn't as good as other books that I've read from him. So yeah, that was the first book that I read in May. Then the second book that I read was actually an audiobook, so I actually listened to it. It was New Moon by Stephanie Meyer. It is the second book in the Twilight series. So I've never actually read the Twilight series physically. It was a big thing when I was in high school, which was a long time ago, and I never actually read them. And I have seen the movies. I have them on DVD, and I decided that I wanted to pick up something as an audiobook that, I actually wouldn't read them physically because whatever, it's Twilight, but I wanted to listen to them on audio to see if like a different experience and just see what's the differences between like the movies and the book, So actually I thought it was not bad. It was actually better than the movie. The character development of Jacob was actually a lot stronger in the book compared to the movie. And New Moon is not my favorite. When it comes to the movies, that one is like the one that I like the least. So I was actually pleasantly surprised by the book. I actually really enjoyed it. So I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And I am going to finish the series because I do want to read Midnight Sun. So I'm going to continue with that. The next book that I read was a physical book. I actually took it out from the library. It was Wilder Girls by Rory Power. And wow, guys, recommend, highly recommend. 5 out of 5 stars. Beautiful. It was amazing. Kept me on the edge of my seat. I wanted to keep reading. It ended and I was like, I want more. So I hope this author puts out another book or something, because this was her debut novel, her first and only novel that she has out. And wow, so good. The writing was amazing. The storyline is pretty much that it's about a school, an all-girls school. And this school is located like on an island. It's very secluded and it's hard to get to. And what happens is that there's like a virus outbreak. So it's about a pandemic pretty much at that school. And yeah, I know what you're thinking, Priscilla. Why'd you read a pandemic about a pandemic in a pandemic? No. Why? Because I wanted to. I also didn't know that it was about a virus. I didn't actually read about the book. I just saw the cover at my library and I was like, I need to read this. This cover is beautiful. And as you could see beside me, beautiful. I really love the artwork of the cover. So the cover is what brought me in. But it's really weird. Like the virus turns these girls into like weird stuff is happening. Like you lose an arm, you lose a hand, you lose an eye, there's scales. I don't know. It was crazy, but it was really good. Like I really enjoyed it. So that's why I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, because wow. The next book, so the second to last book that I read for the month of May, was another audiobook. It was Normal People by Sally Rooney. And I have to start off by saying that I started reading this book, like I took it out as an audiobook from my library because of Chloe from Books with Chloe and Caitlin from Kate Literature. So I have to shout them out. And wow. Oh my God, I can't even. 5 out of 5 stars for that book. Absolutely beautiful. It was so beautiful. So that book does have a lot of trigger warnings. So trigger warnings are depression, suicide, body image, physical and sexual abuse, just so you know. And it was very raw and I absolutely loved it. It was like real life issues, and I really enjoyed it, and it was so emotional, and I'm getting emotional just thinking about it because I absolutely love that book so much. And I do want to get a physical copy. It needs to be on my shelf because I need to like reread it and tab it and all that stuff because it was so beautiful. And I do want to read her other books. So she has another book called Conversation with Friends, and then I believe she just came out with a new book or is coming out with a new book in September here in Canada. So it's going to be out in September. So I'm excited. I really do want to read her other books because Normal People was so good. And I did find out that there's a show by BBC, and BBC makes awesome shows. Okay, awesome shows. And I found out that I can watch it here in Canada on CBC. So I'm definitely going to watch that. I'm like so excited. And then the last book I read was another audiobook. It was the third Twilight book, Eclipse by Stephanie Meyer. So again, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. You know, there was a lot of differences from the movie to the from the book to the movie, from what I remember. So again, I've watched the movies and now I'm reading the books. I've never read the books before, so I didn't know that there was such a difference. But it wasn't that much of a difference. Like there were certain scenes that were changed in the movie, and a lot of things that were left out, obviously, for time, just time consuming preference or whatever. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think the scene that I didn't enjoy as much is in the movie, Jacob kisses Bella when they're together, and then she punches him, right? She punches him in the face, and then she sprains her hand from punching him. In the book, it's rapey. Like, it's like really non-consensual nastiness. I didn't like it. I was like, this is way more gross than in the movie. At least the movie, okay, he kisses her and then she's like, stop, and punches him or whatever. In the book, she's trying to push him away and he's just like pulling her in, and like he's too strong, obviously, because he's a werewolf and all that stuff. But I was just like, what is happening? No thanks. No thanks. And I really don't like Jacob, like, honestly. He's not my favorite of the two. So yeah. So I was just like, nah, this is not okay. Like, no thanks. Like, no thanks. So I did give it 4 out of 5 stars. You can see more of the love triangle, obviously, in the book. There's way more of a love triangle, like there is in the movie, but it's not that deep. In the book, there is more of a love triangle. So yeah, 4 out of 5 stars is what I gave it. Now to talk about June. Yeah, so my TBR is very ambitious, and I just added like 2 more books to it because I don't know what's wrong with me, but yeah, two more books on top of the 10 I already had. Actually, I had way more than 10, but I added 2 more on top of whatever amount I had previously. So in June, which is now, we're in June now, it's taking place currently, I'm taking part of the Whatever You Want-a-thon, which is being hosted by Book Browsing Blog, which I will leave a link down below to her YouTube channel. So she is hosting this whatever, like a readathon, Whatever You Want-a-thon, that's taking place this month. And it's kind of like you're separated into team. You can choose what team you want to be on, and you get points for how many books you read, and if they are associated with prompts and stuff, like you get more points or whatever. So it's supposed to be like a competitive thing, but not really. You can actually do whatever you want. It doesn't have to be competitive for you if you don't want to. So since I read 5 in May, I was like, you know what? Let's do 10. Let's aim for 10. What did I do to myself? I have no idea. So I have 3 physical books. Nope, 4. 4 physical books. My bad. 4 physical books. Then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ebooks. And then for audio, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 audiobooks. Crazy. I know. What did I do? I'm not going to get through all of that whatsoever, but I'm hoping I can get as far in as possible. So the first physical book that I have on my list is Heroine, Plain Bad Heroines. I'm actually almost done. I have like 100 pages left. So I'm just going to finish that up and count it for June. The next book that I have is Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. And I'm excited for that. I took it out from my library, so that will probably be my next physical book that I tackle. I'm excited for it. It's about witches. I honestly don't really know exactly the synopsis of it. I usually just, it seems interesting, sure, let's pick it up and read it and see how it goes, you know? So I do know that it's about witches. I think it's a historical fiction, fantasy fiction. So I'm excited to pick that up. And then I have my only nonfiction book on my list is Waking the Witch. I did start that last month and I'm like on the 4th chapter, I believe. So I'm hoping that maybe I can finish this month. So Waking the Witch is by Pam Grossman. If you don't know, she is the host of the Witch Wave podcast, and absolutely amazing. That's my favorite podcast when it comes to witchy things. So if you're into like Wicca and witchcraft and whatnot, you could definitely check that out. I'll try to leave a link for it in the description box if I remember. If not, just ask me in the comments and I'll give it to you. It's no problem. So yeah, it's an autobiography plus an analysis of witches in media and culture. And so far it's been really interesting. I have been enjoying it. And I do have a physical copy of that. So I have been tabbing it for like my favorite quotes and whatnot. And just like interesting moments that she stated and whatnot. And it's also interesting to know a little bit more about her life as well, which has been really enjoyable to find out more about. So the other one that I picked up really last minute, I picked it up yesterday. I just went to the library yesterday to return a book, and I was like, let me just browse. I don't know why I did that, but I did. Even though I have like a bunch of books to read, but I was like, let me just browse. And I found Get a Life Chloe Brown, which has been not available for like the longest time. And I took it. I'm like, yeah, let me take this out. So that's by Talia Hibbert. It's the first book in the Brown Sisters trilogy. I have been meaning to read that trilogy because my favorite booktubers, Chloe from Books with Chloe, I believe Caitlin from Kate Litcher has also read it. I know that Kevin from Irish Reader has also read it. And I believe also Jamie from Jamie's Library has also read it. So those are my like 4 top favorite YouTubers when it comes to books. I watch them all the time. And I decided I was going to put it on my list to read eventually because it seemed really interesting. And I do like that kind of romance. When it comes to romance, I like that kind of romance. And it seemed like it touched upon also deeper topics as well, which I love. When it comes to romance, I love also when it touches upon other topics or, you know, more serious topics in a book. I find that interesting. So I picked that up yesterday and I added it to my TBR. So yes, since it's a library book, I'm going to have to probably read it after the Once and Future Witches, since I have to return it by the end of the month. So that is for my physical books. So those are physical. Now for ebooks. So Heartstopper, volume 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm gonna read those. I have the ebooks to read those. And it is Pride Month, so I did want to read them for Pride Month. I've heard really good things, obviously, about them. And I don't read graphic novels. I haven't read a graphic novel since I was a child, like things with pictures in it. So this is a little out of my comfort zone. I don't usually read books like this, but I do want to read more books like this. I find it interesting, and the topic and subject matter of these graphic novels seems really interesting. And I love when things, when they're about a relationship, and they're part of the LGBTQ plus community, which is really nice. I love that. And also they touch upon mental health, which is very important. As I said, I have a background in psychology. I'm just getting my degree in social service. So mental health is very important to me. So I definitely wanted to pick them up for that reason as well. But also it is Pride Month, and I do want to, pick up some things that are focused for Pride Month as well. So another reason why. But also, Plain Bad Heroines is also, it's sapphic focus, so I have been reading that. I was supposed to finish it in May, but unfortunately It was due, the book was due today, and I went yesterday to renew it because I couldn't renew it online. The library system is down or whatever. So I was like, maybe I could just finish at the library, but I didn't want to stay there forever, and I'd rather just read at home, so I just renewed it, even though I only have 100 pages left. So, yes, love it. I also have the ebook, A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. So this is Dracula retelling from the bride's point of view, I believe. Don't quote me. I believe. That's all I'm saying. I believe. But apparently it is also LGBTQ plus focused, because the main character, or there's a few main characters that are bisexual. So yes, represent, love that. But also I do love Dracula. I studied Dracula in an English course that I took in college called Gothic Literature, and we had to read one of our main novels. When it wasn't Edgar Allan Poe, our main novel was Dracula, and by Bram Stoker, and I really love that. So I wanted to read it. I believe also it's Chloe's Patreon buddy read for her Patreon. So yeah, I will also leave, all the YouTubers' links down below for their channel, so you could check them out in case you're interested. So I'm going to read it. I'm not part of Chloe's Patreon, but I do want to read that book as well. So hopefully I get to it. If not, then I'll just read it next month. It's not a big deal. And then I also added The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. He has actually 2 books that I want to read. That one, he has another one coming out at some point this year, I believe in the fall. And I'm actually not sure what this book is about, but it's something to do about, it's a fantasy. There's like some house that has like children that are, I don't know, monsters or gods, or honestly I'm not even sure what they are, but there's kids and they have magical powers, or they're gods, or the devil, or angels, or regular monsters. I don't know, but someone goes there, like the main character goes there or something. For what reason, I don't even know. I didn't read the synopsis that well. But it seemed interesting. The cover seemed interesting, and I wanted to read it as well. So I put it, I have an ebook for it, so I put it on my list to read. And then my last ebook that I have is Denim Vipers by K.A. Knight. So yeah, I actually started reading it, and let me tell you, it is odd. It's weird. There are obviously trigger warnings for that. They're on Goodreads. I guess check it out on Goodreads, because I don't even know what they are. Something about like maybe physical sexual abuse, maybe. I know there's like BDSM in there, and like it's like a real adult. It's very adult when it comes to that one. It's like super adult. And yeah, I don't know. So far, I'm not really understanding. Like, I don't know if like they're a gang or a mafia, or if they're like fantasy. Like, to me, it seems like they're a mafia family or something. I don't know. It's weird. The synopsis is really that some guy has debt with these people from gambling, and he sells his daughter to them. That's really all I know. And I've started reading it, and it's already pretty weird. So I'm going to keep reading it, though, because, why not? If I DNF it, then I DNF it. But so far, it's not that bad. It's just odd. Like, it's just odd. Because of the characters. The characters are strange. So that was my last ebook. And then I have audiobooks. So I have The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. So I actually just started this on audiobook, and it's good. It's great. I love it so far. Honestly, it'll probably end up being 5 out of 5 stars. I'm just calling it at this point. But yeah, it's really interesting. I love the narrator of the ebook, the audiobook. So if you ever do it on audio, you'll like the narrator. She is fun. She is fun. And she has like a southern accent. And I just love it. I love it. I love it so much. But it's about a book club. It's about a book club. All these women, they have a book club. They read like mystery, serial killer type, crime type books. Sometimes they read romance. And then there's like some stranger that comes into town. Some weird things start happening. And yeah, so far it's really good. I'm really invested in the story so far. So I would definitely read that physically if I ever got it. Then I have recently put on my list Split Tooth by Tanya. Ooh, I'm not sure how to pronounce her surname. She's indigenous. I'm not sure. I'm really bad at pronunciation, but you can see it on the screen with the photo. If someone knows how to pronounce it, please let me know in the comments because I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, so this is an indigenous novel. It is about, I believe, from, if I'm remembering correctly from the synopsis, it is about a woman that her sister goes missing. And talks about, I think, really heavy subjects when it comes to the indigenous community about discrimination and abuse and, you know, indigenous women going missing and whatnot. And I got it on audiobook because there was no physical copies available. The ebook would have taken weeks, like months to get. And the audiobook was available. So I was like, sure. I'm going to do it on audio. And with everything that's going on right now in Canada, with the, you know, children that were found in British Columbia, it's just a good time to read more. I've wanted to actually read more Indigenous books. I have put some in the last several months on my list to read. It was actually one of my goals to read more Indigenous novels and books by Indigenous authors. So I definitely wanted to do that. And that was just one that I wanted to pick up. And apparently it's really good. So I'm excited to read that. I think that will be my next audiobook. After I finish the Southern Vampire one, I will start reading that one. And I'm excited. And if anyone has any suggestions for other Indigenous authors or Indigenous books, please, by all means, leave them in the comments below. I would love to check out more Indigenous type of books. And I did add some from, I believe, Caitlin from Kate Literature. She did talk about some Indigenous books, but Indigenous peoples from New Zealand, and some of them really seemed really interesting to me, like the poetry and whatnot. So I did add those to my Goodreads as well. But if anyone has any Canadian Indigenous authors and would like to suggest to me, recommend, please, I would love that so much. You can just pop them in the comments. That would be fantastic. Because there's, like, I just want to be more cultured when it comes to reading more cultured books. And I have recently added a lot of Asian, Korean, because of Chloe. I've added a lot of books by Korean authors and other Asian authors onto my Goodreads to read, because I just want to read more from other people, like other authors, not just white people. I want to be a little bit more cultured and read more interesting things from other cultures, you know. So I'm excited for that. I'm hoping that I don't know who narrated it. I'm hoping that the person that narrated is actually Indigenous, because that would just put the icing on the cake for me. So I guess I'll see when I actually, you know, listen to it, and then I'll let you guys know in the next month's video. And then obviously the next two is just Breaking Dawn by Stephanie Meyer. It's the fourth book in the Twilight series. I just want to continue that. And then the fifth book in the Harry Potter series, so Harry Potter and the Order of Phoenix. I'm waiting on that as well. I was supposed to read it last month. There was a problem with the audio file. I don't know what happened, and then I had to return it and then wait again for it because it wouldn't download. It was very strange. It was like corrupted or something. Half of it wouldn't even download. So I'm like, what? So yes, So I'm waiting for that again. But I think I should get it soon. So yeah. So yeah, that's my TBR for June. Very ambitious. Am I going to get through it all? Probably not. But I think I'm going to focus on the most important ones that I think are actually most important for me to read, or the ones that I really want to read, I should say. So yes, I think I can get through all of the audiobooks though, because that's just listening to it, and I usually listen to an audiobook while I'm working. So I think that's okay. Like, I think that's fine. So yeah. So I do thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry if it's all rambly and whatnot. This is my first video where you can actually see me, and I'm a little nervous, but I hope you enjoyed it. And I do thank you so much for, you know, taking the time to watch this video. I really appreciate it. Also, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Turn on that bell so you can be notified every time I post a brand new video. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it's greatly appreciated. And it helps me a lot in the long run as well. So I do thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have a great day.